Passive aggressive. Passive aggressive behavior refers to a pattern of indirect expression of hostility, rejection, or negativity toward others, rather than engaging in direct confrontation. The straightforward dialogue is not natural to those people. Expressing their thoughts and feeling is a real challenge. So they generally have an unhappy and moody character. People who exhibit passive aggressive behavior have difficulty to manifest openly their expectation and grievances, which are often numerous. Instead, they find subtle ways to show their discontent, their resentment, their anger. Now, this behavior can stem from a variety of reasons, including fear of direct conflict, an upbringing where such a behavior is an established norm, a social code, a psychological self-repression, or just a defensive mechanism to avoid responsibility. Now, I would like to give some examples of these passive aggressive behavior in order to make it more concrete. First, procrastination. When someone intentionally delays or slows down some activity, some accomplishment is asked to perform, a task, right? Just slow it down. That take your time where it's obvious you don't want to do it, you don't like it. Second is sabotage. When you intentionally make mistakes when you accomplish something, although it can be relatively unconscious, not totally, but sometimes people don't realize what they're doing, but they're sabotaging the work as a way to express their discontentment. Sarcasm, using sarcasm or backhanded compliments to express displeasure. Oh, what you did is really wonderful. We're just criticizing the person in an indirect fashion. Same as subtle insults, making veiled negative remarks, right? So people understand that you are not happy, and it might not be immediately obvious. You're so smart. Sometimes it's more obvious. The silent treatment, when you give someone the cold shoulder or ignore him as a form of punishment, not answering mails, not answering requests, which in some cultures is a very common practice as a way to reject people without saying anything, right? Withholding praise or affection by not acknowledging someone's achievements or intentionally not showing signs of affection when it would be expected. For example, with somebody close to you, your child, your spouse, and you don't show affection when it's expected. So you show your visible displeasure, right? Sulking, pouting, right? Being visibly upset or moody without discussing the reason. You show you're not happy, you make faces, you don't speak, but keeping an obvious and forced disgruntled silence, right? A heavy silence, right? Forgetfulness, when you claim to forget to do requested tasks or to attend events, or somebody asks you something, I forgot. You show actually the fact you don't really want to do it and you're not happy with what's being asked, right? Vague communication, being intentionally ambiguous or unclear when you speak, so people don't really understand. So you force others to guess or decipher the meaning. You give nebulous answers to questions asked, but people don't really understand. It's hard to understand, right? Then playing the victim, acting as if you're treated unfairly when you are actually the source of the issue. We often do this, whining, right? So actually it looks like you're weak, but actually it's a very aggressive And that's what passive aggressive is. Huh? You play the weak, but actually you're very aggressive. And lastly, formal statements. For example, to say that we're busy, that we don't have time, that we'll do something later or discuss it later when we have time. But you don't provide any definite schedule. It's indefinite, so the other person doesn't know what to do. You're living in a pure state of uncertainty. But this way you show him that you're not at his disposal, that you're not going to do what he's asking, right? Yeah. And these are very harsh. It looks objective. I have no time, but it's a very harsh statement. So that's basically the different manifestation. One last comment I should make is that we should differentiate between occasional passive-aggressive actions and a consistent pattern of passive-aggressive behavior. It's not the same thing, because everyone might act once in a while in a passive-aggressive manner when we're in a bad mood, to deal with some temporary unpleasant situation, to get rid of a bothersome person. We all do that. But recurrent or chronic passive aggressiveness can be quite disruptive and damage a relation. It reveals some deeper psychological or existential problem. Generally, it reflects a pitiful self-conception and a sense of powerlessness. Yeah. So when people are acting in a passive-aggressive way, in a systematic way, it can be quite irritating. But we should remember that they simply have a hard time with themselves. They have a sense of meaninglessness and powerlessness.